I want to welcome you to the grand opening of the new Fender in a hard case Acoustasonic Stratocaster, not Telecaster. This is right from eBay. Just took me 10 minutes to get it out of the box that it was shipped in without getting. Oh, there's a few scuffs here. Looks like glue. That'll probably come off. But it looks nice. It looks pretty good. It's clearly been played, which is what one would expect. Let's see if we can get a little bit more light on the subject here before we pull it out of the case. That up. It's a cobalt blue. It's a hollow body. It looks like a carbon fiber piece in the middle. I don't know if this is all carbon fiber or what. It looks like it's been played. We'll see. We'll have to take it out and take a look. Let's pull it up. Let's look at the back. It looks in pretty good shape. Get the magic light over. Give it a once over. Fender Acoustasonic Stratocaster. I don't know when this is made. Battery changes. Batteries are attached to the back of this plate. So you got to replace these batteries. I don't know how often. There's the jack. I don't see any kind of adjustment for any volume or tone controls. Or maybe that's what those two knobs are on the front. Now that I think about it. There's two knobs here on the front. And I think these are for volume and tone. I was thinking they were to adjust the string height. But that's not what they're about at all. And it's got a 3-piece bridge that sits on here. This is very different. The strings are quite worn. I can see they're a little pitted. Somebody clearly has done an adjustment to the truss rod. That's why the strings are all marked up. But you can see here it says Fender Stratocaster Acoustasonic Series 5? Acoustasonic Series, not 5. Let's take a look at the back of the neck. I think these are MIM. Yeah, it says made in Mexico. Right on there. It says Fender on the back of the tuners. I don't know, I may put an upgrade on them. I may replace those with some of the old F-style tuners, just because I like F-style tuners. Seems in pretty good shape. We can give it a crack and see how it plays. Well, here we are with the new Acoustasonic Stratocaster that I just took out of the case and stuff. It's been kind of neglected. I think it came out of a basement. The strings are all rotted, not rotted, but corroded and really bad. There's no power in the system. Maybe it just needs a battery to make the electronics work. I got to replace that back here. Overall, the condition is not too bad. It's just clearly been put away in a crummy basement. The case looks a little beat up from moisture, you know, from being in a basement somewhere. It's a nice looking guitar. We'll take the back off in a little bit here and see if we can get some power to this and see if it's going to play and be okay. Stand by for the next upcoming adventure. But that's what it is. That's what it is. And this is the case. I don't know if you can see very well, but the all the clutches and stuff, the catches are all kind of pitted and stuff from just being left in a damp place. You know, this has not been well cared for, not a well loved piece. It's kind of too bad. I think it's a nice case. It's just kind of been stored poorly, you know, under less than optimum conditions. So we'll see what we can do. Well, here we are. We're going to open the back door here together and see what we find. All right, so that takes all the screws out. Let's see if we can gingerly open this cover and see what the hell's in here. Oh, there's an electronic board. Oh, it takes 2 batteries, and there's no batteries at all. So, we got to get a couple of batteries. Maybe this is salvageable. What the hell holds these in? Oh, there's a screw there that seems to be coming through, or a rivet or something. But it's clearly letting go. So maybe we should try to glue that back down to get it to stay in place. See what happens. A lot of funny electronics in there. And the strings are right, coming right through into where the electronics come out. So it's not the greatest design in all the world. See, here's the strings coming out through the back of the body. And then I've got these 2 battery compartments here. One of them is loose. That one's still fixed. So, I don't know, maybe I'll try putting some super glue underneath here just to hold it down and secure it. I don't know what else to do there. So we'll get some batteries and stick them in and see if it'll play. Don't know yet. All right, so I just put 2 9-volt batteries in the back. Put the cover back on. I'm going to get my new Orange Crush little amplifier here. I think that's volume. And that's tone, so it does work. We got it in the crummy little the crummy little orange, but it's alive anyway. That's kind of good news. So maybe we should take it over to the great big amplifier and see what the hell happens. And if that works out okay, we'll clean it up, put some strings on it, and see what the hell happens. I think it just needs a little love. Maybe we'll be okay. Maybe the electronics are just fine, and we'll be all right. I sent a nasty note to the guy. All right, so we're back again, hooked up to the big Fender guitar amp that just come on. So we've got sound, and we've got it wirelessly, which is kind of nice. So let's do a couple of things while we're sitting around here and see what happens. This has got really old strings that are crummy, and that's the volume. This other one is a tone control. So let's tune it up. Tune up these crummy old strings. Alright, so that's that. So there's, with this guitar, there's no much, there's a volume and a tone. It's a real simple guitar. these is that they're supposed to be acoustic and electric. So let's shut off the amp. So that's what it sounds like. It's a very humble acoustic guitar. It's okay. It's okay. I thought it was going to be a dud there. It scared the hell out of me. But there was no batteries in the rear compartment. But the electronics are fine. So we'll fix this up and have this playing. Squire. This is a made in Mexico. Acoustasonic Stratocaster. I'm not sure if it's carbon fiber or what the hell the body's made out of. It shows some carbon fiber pieces in here and so forth. That, but I don't know if the whole thing. It's very light. It's a nice feel, like the Acoustasonic Telly. Just a little different. Just a little different. Just a little different. Nice to own. It's a little pricey, but it's okay. You got it? There it is. Fender Acoustasonic series, it says. And it's a made in Mexico. It's the made in Mexico seal. Okay? And it's got this label on the back, Acoustasonic Stratocaster. But there's no real identifying serial number and stuff that I can see. As I look through the hole here with the light, it looks like the back of it is wood. So I don't know if this is some kind of a composite build or a little different. Different. All right, we're back to our new Fender Stratocaster Acoustasonic series guitar. This is an older model. I'm not sure when it was made, but I bought it on eBay from a guy who presented it as a very good condition, and it really is in fair condition. There's a lot of corrosion. I think it's been stored for a long time in a damp kind of basement. All the hardware is tarnished. You know, the strings are shot to shit. I thought the electronics might be bad, but there was no battery when I first got this. So that was why there was no sound or anything. But the battery case in the back was loose. The holder that holds it takes two 9-volt batteries and little cavity light, and one of them was loose, swirling around. So I super glued that, put the batteries in, plugged it in, and the electronics do work. This is a little different, a little weird, because the volume controls are built into the bridge. There's a volume and a tone. And then this is an acoustic Stratocaster, which I'd really never heard about until a few weeks ago, and when I stumbled across this on eBay. So I looked into it a little bit, and I couldn't find out much about them, and I still haven't been able to find out much, not from the authority. There's as much information on the back of this guitar, on that little patch, as there is that you can find anywhere in the world. So I'm going to move ahead and see if I can't get this thing in decent condition. So this is really my first look. The other day I did some work just to get to see if the batteries were even in there or what was the problem with getting any sound out of this, because there was none, and I was afraid I really got screwed royally. But I think I only got screwed a little bit. So I paid $600 for this guitar, and it may be worth $4, I think, but I don't really know. Because there's really no references to this guitar. This must have just fell off of Fender's love list very shortly after it was produced. So what I'm going to do is first check the neck and run through this whole thing. I'm going to take it all down. I'm going to clean it all up. I'm going to replace some parts and put some new things on. I'm going to replace the belt. the strap holders because they're all corroded. The tuners are a pretty good set of tuners. They just need a good cleanup. They work fairly well. This is a made in Mexico guitar with Fender logo tuners and so forth, you know. So let's see if we can, if anybody knows anything about the numbers and how you can identify the year it's made and stuff, I'd appreciate that. If you could tell me, I may look it up and see what it can say. But there's literally as much information that I can find right here on the sticker on the back of the guitar. And this is the battery compartment also. There's 6 screws here that hold the battery in place. And maybe we'll take that off and take a look at it. Then I'll show you what it is. So we're getting ready to take the last screw out here in the back. And we'll reveal the cavity that holds the electronics in the battery. They're 2 9-volt. I don't know how often they're going to have to be changed. But it's a bit of a nuisance to get this off. And there you can see there's the battery compartment. And one of these was flopping around yesterday, and I super glued it and put it back together again. And then you can see here's all the electronics. As well as in the back, you can see where the strings come through and tie down. And you can see the pegs also where they come through. And it's all joined together in this one compartment, which is a little strange as from what I can see, but what the hell do I know? Let me get a little bit more light in here. There, you can see now where things are. And these electronics, but they all look to be in pretty good shape. There's no corrosion on the bar. I don't know what the heck any of these things are. It looks like you can turn these and change the settings, perhaps. There's 3 piezo electric pickups because the bridge is split 3 ways. There's 3 sections. So maybe this corresponds with that, and you can set the pickup or something. I don't know. I don't understand. But these knobs do turn. I don't know what the hell they do. And like I said, I can't find any information about how all this stuff works together. So anyway, that's what we found when we opened it up. It was missing batteries. That's why it didn't play initially. Which I was really afraid of. I had nothing. It really kind of scared me when I first opened it up. But the batteries sit up this end, away from the electronics, and it all kind of jams in there fairly snugly together, I think. But there seems to be room. Oh, string pairs volume trim pots. So there's a volume control for each one of the pots there. That's what this is. String pairs volume trim pots. So you can adjust something with those things as to how the pickups work, which I don't understand at all. It'd be nice to find some more information. Bridge controls. Control the bridge treble side, active zones, yada, yada, yada. It's real small print here, too, which is a pain in the ass. If they're going to give you this information, wish they put it in a flyer or something. Well, maybe it did come with that, but I never got it. And there's no place I can find on the internet where I can get information about this. So I'm going to put the screws back in, and we'll go back to work on the other side and replacing some of the cruddy stuff and see if we can't get this thing to play well. While I'm back here, I'm going to clean it up a little bit. I got some Maguire's auto detailing wax that I use to clean up, shine up the bodies. I cleaned this up yesterday with some other stuff, with some lighter fluid to get some of the real gunky, sticky junk off that was here. There was quite a bit of, not quite a bit, there was some gunk, some sticky stuff. I don't know, adhesive from something. I don't really know what the heck that was from. Um, I don't have any idea. I own an Acoustasonic Telecaster, which is the new variety of Acoustasonics. I didn't even know that they made this guitar, or that they made an Acoustasonic um, Stratocaster. So when I saw this, I was kind of dumbfounded. I'm going to replace these the belt buttons, because they're all corroded. This has been stored and put away someplace in a bad place. That's why all the chrome stuff is turned to shit. The guy who did the listing on eBay essentially lied about the condition. It's not as horrendous as I first thought it was, but nothing that was chrome has survived the years that it's been neglected. It's kind of a shame. Here, I'm going to take both these strap buttons off while I'm here. No extra charge. Pretty thrilling stuff. When I read all the announcements about the Telecaster, it sounded like they had never done anything along this line before, and that it was a whole new venture for Fender getting into making the Acoustasonic Tele. Well, that doesn't turn out to be the case at all, because they'd already mucked around with these guys, and from what I've seen now, a couple of other versions of Acoustasonic Stratocasters, which really kind of surprises me. But I'm going to run through this whole thing and set it up. It's got rotten old strings on it. I'm going to take all this stuff off. We'll clean it all up. The fretboard is, the frets themselves are physically in decent condition. They're just corroded because it's been stored poorly somewhere. They're all tarnished like the strings. So we're going to get all this stuff off now and clean it all up and see what we can do. And I'm going to do some makeover stuff to this. Oh, the first thing I wanted to do before I did anything else was to check the neck for straightness, and that's just what I'm going to do right now. So if I take and place the notched straight edge on the correct side, we'll see what the neck's doing. And the neck is got a slight bow to it. Both ends are touching, and I got a little bit of light, so there's just a little bit of a bow in there. So what I think I'm going to do is give the truss rod just a bit of an adjustment, because my buddy Dave from Dave's World of Fun Stuff says you should always start with a straight truss rod. So I believe Dave knows what the hell he's talking about. He's been doing this for a long time. So let's see if we can get in here and find one that fits. And I can't quite reach it. Must be way down a deep hole. I'm going to take those string trees off anyway. But I'd really like to give this an adjustment before I take off the strings. Well, there's a little tension on the neck. So all right, so we disconnected the top of the strings. And we're going to pull them out of the bottom here. And these strings are probably the originals. They are as corroded and shitty looking as they can be. Just terrible. Anyway, we'll pull these out. We'll clean this up. The pins, I'm surprised, are just shitty little plastic pins, and replace them. In the meantime, we'll do a little cleaning. Rinse and all. Let me come up a little bit in the world and get a better perspective here. My camera holder tends to fall down all the time. That's why I keep losing it. So, let's take a little bit of this. We'll squirt some on the rag. We'll squirt some on the guitar. We'll clean it up a bit. No relief in the neck. And I've been trying to find a truss rod wrench to fit that, and I can't find one that fits. I'm a little confused as to why that's so screwy. I would have thought it'd just be a standard fender, but you never know. A good wipe and a good cleaning. And then we'll go back and clean the frets too, because they're a mess. I'm going to take a peek. We'll clean up the headstock and stuff too. You can see I tried 27 different truss rod wrenches and I can't get anything that fits. So I can't make a truss rod adjustment, which is a little unnerving. But what the hell are you going to do? And I'll have to tighten up these tuners. Some of them feel loose. They're not a bad set of tuners. They're just been kicking around for a long time, I think. Like everything else on this guitar, it's very old. These were made from about 2003, I think is what I read. I took some pictures of some information I found just a little while ago when I went on break. Clean up the frets a little. See if we can get them looking any better. We'll see if we can do some work here on these tuning pegs and get some of the old years of crud off of here. That's a 10. By God, it's a 10. They're all pretty snug. They're a little loose, but not bad. They can use a snugging. So that one was pretty loose. So that wasn't in. But let's see what we got back here. See if we can do a little cleaning. And that Mexico serial number should be able to give us a year that this was made. Be interesting to see how far back this goes. 73, 41. I don't know how to read these numbers. I think there's a guide online somewhere to look up serial numbers. Okay, I just took a toothbrush and some lighter fluid and scrubbed up the fretboard here and got all the junk out of there. The brass is still pretty grungy looking. I cleaned up the tuners with some lighter fluid and a toothbrush, so they came out a little bit better. And then down here, we cleaned up down here also and found out that these lift out. Because I tipped the guitar over without the strings in, and they all fell over. So you got to make sure you put them back in the same way. Luckily, they're indented from where the strings were, where the strings went through, so I could see where each one belonged. And I think I got them back in the right place. I think. Because that'll make a difference in string height adjustment. Okay? Because there really is none. It's only from the height of the here, you know, and it should already be set. But again, we got a problem because we can't adjust the truss rod. I'm hoping that the tension from putting a new set of 10 strings on is going to give me enough to make up for the inability to adjust the truss rod. But the next thing we're going to do is try to clean up the frets a little bit, an easy way with a sanding block, stiff sanding block, and a little bit of elbow grease. This way it doesn't touch the fretboard, and it cleans out all the frets and gets all the ugly top tarnish off, kind of down and dirty and easy. Just put a little pressure on this move it up and down. The sides, because this is a Mexico-made guitar, the finish of the frets on the outside is really nice. So we're just going to give the frets a bit of a polish. There is a little bit of fret wear up top here. I don't know if you can see the marks, but there is marks where the strings have been laid down on top over the years during playing. It's typical. It doesn't look too bad. I don't think it's going to affect our playability. And I suppose if worse came to worse, if I can't adjust this with a truss rod, I may be able to take it over to the guitar shop over in Woodman, the guitar doctor, and have him help me find a truss rod wrench that'll fit there. So if I got to, I'll go see my buddy over at in Whitman, the guitar doctor. Let's vacuum up all this fret dust. Not too much of a risk of this stuff getting involved with the pickup, because there really isn't one. It's the piezos. And the piezos are buried underneath the bridge. So there's no problem with magnetic stuff. So this is really a bit of a different kind of a guitar. Those cleaned up really nice. That looks very good. I like that a lot. All right, so we got a few other things we're going to add in here. We're getting some new string trees. These old ones actually have a pin. I've never seen maybe I'll put these back. They've got an actual pin to line them up. If you can see, when I first opened it up, I thought they had moved them. You know, when I took these out, I thought they had one in there that didn't fit. But it's a hole for the pin to line this up and keep it in position. So these are kind of, I don't know, different. So maybe we'll put them back in for their antique value. Kind of cute. We'll stay with the original style that has a pin. This is the first time I've ever seen a string tree with a pin. Cute. Very cute. See the little pin? Nice. Anyway, we'll get back to this other stuff. We're going to do some work on the fretboard. We're going to do inlays. We may do that. What time is it? It's about an hour away from Patriots football. So we may get into the game and let this go until tomorrow. But we'll see what we can keep moving along and put some of these things back that we started with. Now we're looking down at the fret at the bridge, and you can see the holes, and you can see the marks where the strings come out. So that tells me I've got them in the right place. It's nice to have the lighted magnifying glass to be able to verify some things for old eyes. So that's good to know. Okay, so we're in the right way. We're getting ready to do the inlays. And I got these are very nice. I've used them before. And I got them from a place called Creative Cuts in Burbank, California, via Patricia. Sort of a sentimental value from my wife. So that she's a part of the project too. But anyway, this is the way they're going to go. We're going to get ready to lay down the first few. And these go down very nice. I've used these before on another project, and I liked them a lot, and I went looking for these in a blue that we're going to use here in this project. The diagram to help you along the way, and a pair of scissors. So we're going to start up here and do these first couple, and then we'll turn you guys loose on break. Oh, what you should do with these is to get them to stick to the top of the tape. Let's drop down here. I've shown this before. You want to get them to stick to the up a surface. So you use the pick to make sure they're clinging very well to the top. Okay? So then we'll go and cut them down. Alright, so we're going to cut this off kind of close. And then we're going to cut the top off kind of close. This is going to sit up at the top there. Then the next one, we're going to cut that very close, because that's going to be the first one that's going to come over a fret marker. And that's where the rubber hits the road, so to speak, if you cover the fret markers. If you did that, you did it good. If you mucked it up, the white shows. Alright, so we're going to lay this one down here, and then we'll put that one down, and we'll put that one down. So we're going to peel away from the back. We're going to take the backing away from the top, and it tends to release nice. And then we're going to hit this right dead center of the fret marker, and then we'll lay the next one down up top. Now you notice I haven't pushed these down tight yet, so if I screw it up I can pull it up and replace it. See, and that's going to line up there. And then we'll come and take this one and peel the top of this away. And then lay that on top there, just like that. Alright, so that's the first set that are in place. I'll do the rest of them on the way down, and we'll come back and I'll show you when I'm done. Alright, there's the inlays, all done on the fingerboard. We put the original ties back, trees. I think we're about ready to go to strings. I'm going to go find a pair of 10 to 48s and put them on. And then we'll see how this thing is going to play out. I've got some different pieces to try for end pins instead of these crummy plastic ones. I've got some new strap buttons. We'll put them on too. We'll be back in a minute. I have the strings I wanted. These are Diodario flat wound warm tone 10 to 48. That's what's recommended on the back of the guitar as what you should put on here. And we've got some metal pins that we're going to use. I don't even remember where the heck I got them from. We're going to put them in and see how that all goes. Be right back. We'll do strings. So here we go. We got the first couple strings in, and we're using these metal pins. So we give that a little twist to get it to throw itself a little forward. We find the groove, send it down the groove. That one, then the green is the fourth string, depending on which way you're counting. Find the groove. There, that's good. 2 to go. Now they're all planted. Now we'll hook them all up and see how this goes. So we'll start up the other end. We'll line the strings up, and we'll get ready to rock and roll. See how much we got for today. The strings are all on, and the problem still is just the truss rod needs a little bit of an adjustment. If I can find a wrench for it, we can make an adjustment. I think everything will be just fine. But I think the neck looks good. The strings are those flat wounds. Where are they? Here they are. Diodario flat wound warm mellow 1048 XLs. So I think it looks good. There's light at the end of the tunnel, and it might not be a train. I'm going to cut these strings off, and then we'll get around to playing it on electric. Well, this turned out better than I thought. We have one minor issue with the string height. One minor issue with the string height is I can't quite get it the way I like it. It plays fairly well, but it come out pretty good. I'm on a wireless setup now. I just tuned it up. It tunes very nicely. Hooked up to the big Fender amp. The tone and volume control are back here in the saddle. Another little different component. It's different. It's really unique. It's got the piezos under here. There's 3 separate pieces. There's 3 piezos, one for each 2 strings. You can adjust the volume from the back. There's a setting. That's what this designates in this diagram back here. You've got to take the plate off and do that, but you can adjust it. The color is lovely. It was kind of a mess when I got it. We cleaned up the fretboard, we decorated the fretboard, we put brand new flat wound strings, we returned the original string trees because they were kind of unique, with a peg to line them up. Different. Nice guitar. It's nice. I have the Acoustasonic Stratocaster, and now we have the Acoustasonic Stratocaster of an earlier vintage. I think, and Fender seems to have disowned this guitar. They don't tell you nothing about it. They don't list it anywhere in the world. I found it on an off website and got some information I needed about setup. Pretty cool. I like it. I like it. I like it. I might have paid a little too much for it, but it's unique. You won't find many of these out in the world. I really like the way it come out. I'm happy. Made in Mexico. See? And it was made in 2004. I was able to look up the date from the serial number. Cute.